Oh, yeah. Welcome to the show. I thought we were going to have a little bit of a longer intro there. Whoa. Hey, caught me off guard. What's up, everybody? Guys, what happened? Are we all right? I think we're working on new production, so we didn't have a full intro there. Hey, everybody, we got MMA to talk about. What's next for Jon Jones?
We're live?
We're live. Okay, the show's on, AJ. Take it easy. I'm Dave. That's AJ. Yep, that guy over there, AJ. This guy over here, Freddie. Okay, I'm Dave. We talk MMA every week. It's Ringside Report MMA, and we're going to talk about
your stairs.
What?
It sounded like you were coming up your stairs or something. What happened there?
What do you mean? Intro? Well, I don't know. I thought there was going to be some music and stuff going on, but I pressed the button and it didn't quite. I don't know. It didn't quite go the way I thought it was going to go, the way it normally goes. But I think we're in transition, so things are kind of. Don't worry about it. We're on, right? We're live. We're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. What's up, everybody? Thank you for joining us. We're going to talk about Jon Jones tonight. We're going to talk about UFC Vegas coming up this weekend. Frankie Edgar versus Pedro Munoz in the main event, a solid main event for the UFC on a Saturday night. And we're going to talk about Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier, what do you mean Saturday? What are you laughing about Saturday? Yeah, UFC events are on Saturday.
You didn't say Saturday. You said Saturday.
No, I didn't. Shut your mouth, AJ. God damn it. AJ's going to be messing with me for the rest of the show, I assume. He's in a mood. He's all peppy. He's got a new microphone. Finally, we fixed his audio issues. If you watched our watch-along on Saturday night, this past Saturday, when we watched UFC 252, we did a watch-along, and AJ was outside on a terrible microphone, and there were crickets behind him. It was a total disaster, so we said, okay, AJ, that's enough. We're just going to order you a microphone because AJ is the senior member of the Ringside Report team, and he doesn't really understand how to order things online, so I had to do it for him. I literally went to Amazon, ordered something. It got there the next day, and now AJ has a microphone. So congratulations for AJ, and thank you, everybody, for supporting us on the Super Chat. You guys made AJ's audio dreams come true because now, because of your support, AJ can be heard properly tonight. So that's really nice. AJ's back.
Konnichiwa. Thank you, Dave.
You didn't even say that right.
6 months.
It's konnichiwa. You said kuchiniwa.
That's what I said.
You said kuchiniwa. Fred?
Well,
I was gonna say I'm not sure what's the AJ's deal, man. He's attacking your professionalism, and if anything, you're the only one professional here, because I'm not, and AJ's definitely not a professional. So don't attack Dave's professionalism, AJ.
Yeah, don't attack my professionalism.
Listen, now you could say that me and Freddie look like twins. Look at us with the same headphones. We look great.
You guys do look really good. I do kind of look like I'm surrounded by two versions of the same guy. You're both wearing black t-shirts, black baseball hats, and the same microphone, and I'm got a different look in the middle. I mean, not much of a different look. If I had a hat on, I'd pretty much look like those guys. But it's the microphone. It's just it's weird. I'm surrounded by two versions of the same thing. You're wearing. I feel like I'm not wearing the uniform. I missed out. It's weird.
Me and Freddie look like two guys that are in a call center in Mumbai. But the difference with you is me and Freddie looks like Brad Pitt. I look like George Clooney, and you. I was gonna say 69, but without the tattoos.
AJ's just mad because he's teaming up with Freddie this week. Because he and Freddie both picked Daniel Cormier to beat Stipe Miocic last Thursday, right? I know, Fred. I'm sorry.
Here we go.
I'm sorry. I just have to attack AJ. This is more about AJ being wrong than Fred being wrong because Fred doesn't claim to always be right like AJ does. But AJ, last week you picked Daniel Cormier to win, and I told you Stipe Miocic was going to win by decision, and he did. So that's why AJ's mad at me and saying bad things about me. I just want to shout out Patrick C. Hamilton.
When you've been rendered a Cyclops, what do you want?
Sorry, hold on, AJ. I want to shout out Patrick C. Hamilton because his support helps you sound good, and he just sent us a super chat. That was that super chat that just dropped there. That was a cool effect. That was a new thing, right? Did you see me on the screen?
What was that? I saw that. That was awesome, man.
That was awesome.
That was amazing, man. So, can you get one of me and Freddie?
We don't need you. Fred, we'll get a Fred.
Come on.
Patrick C. Hamilton says sounds much better. So thank you for your support, Ringside Report Universe. AJ's microphone sounds good now. I want to start with Jon Jones. We'll talk about Daniel Cormier in a little bit. Daniel Cormier, great career. Hurt a little bit by Jon Jones. Got beat by Jon Jones a couple of times. And we'll do a little Daniel Cormier career retrospective a little later on. But I feel like it ties into Jon Jones and what's going on with him and what his next move might be here with the UFC. Jon Jones went on a Twitter tirade earlier this week. Pretty much after the DC Stipe thing, I think Jones was thinking he got winner, right? I think Jon Jones was hoping that he would step in and fight Stipe Miocic and get the next heavyweight title shot, okay? Let me give you a few examples of some tweets from Jon Jones. This is on late Sunday night, so this is during the fight here. Jon Jones, how these dudes both going to take off the last 2 seconds of round 4, LOL, kind of making fun of DC and Stipe. Try that shit with me, I dare you, talking about the fight. Here we go, 5th and final round. Let's go, DC. Now's the time to work. Heavyweight World Championships, I will be seeing you real soon, victorious. This is after the fight, right? Or maybe even during the fight. This is exciting for me. For some reason, these heavyweights don't seem so big to me tonight. Avoid Stipe's right hand. I'm too fast. I'll be too strong when the time is right and have way too much energy. Soon and very soon, I'll be considered the baddest man on this planet. Jon Jones continuing. This is the next day. How y'all feeling this Sunday afternoon? Retweet some sort of thing. Albuquerque. And here's where it gets interesting. This is Monday. Okay? So Jon Jones, Saturday night, watching the fight. He wants to fight Stipe for the heavyweight championship. Now, before we get into the negotiations with the UFC, guys, that was my impression given the tweets, right? That Jon Jones was putting out there, heavyweight championships, I'll see you soon, victorious. Stipe couldn't do that with me. I'll be too fast when the time comes. It seems like Jones wanted the fight with Stipe, right? Are we in agreement with that, at least, AJ? Because I know that your interpretation of things is different than mine and Fred's for the most part. But before we get AJ's weird interpretation, because I know he's got one, Fred, you were seeing that, right? Like Jon Jones wanted Stipe, and I think a lot of us watching those tweets and watching the fight, like we were showing some of those tweets while we were doing our watch along this past Saturday. And, we were watching Jon Jones and what he was saying because, Jon Jones could have had next. And I was interested in the idea of Jon Jones versus Stipe. I know we're all interested in that fight. Fred, that's what Jones was going for, right?
Yeah, of course. Like you said, on Saturday, we kept on looking on Jon Jones' Twitter timeline to see what he would say. And once Stipe won, that's the fight I think that a lot of fans want to see. They want to see the light heavyweight champion against the heavyweight champion. Jon Jones, I think everybody feels could be a legit heavyweight. Like, he's a big guy. He's a big light heavyweight, so could fare well. So, yeah, that's the fight we want to see. I think where the problem might be is that Jon Jones wants to get paid extra, I think, for this move. Like, he feels he's worth something. And I'm not sure the UFC is willing to renegotiate or to give him some extra for this. And look, I hope Jon Jones is the next title fight for Stipe. But part of me thinks that it might be Ngannou because that fight might just be easier to make for the UFC. So we'll see what happens. But I definitely hope that Jon Jones gets the next title shot. I think most hardcore MMA fans also would agree. There's a lot of people behind the Ngannou bandwagon also. And look, he's probably deserved the rematch, but Stipe dominated him. So to me, give me the matchup I've never seen before, which is Jon Jones and Stipe. Plus, Stipe weighed in at 233, so I bet Jon Jones would weigh about the same weight on. Like if Jon Jones stays at heavyweight and doesn't cut any weight, he's definitely over 220, 225. So I'm interested with that fight.
Yeah, but let's not forget, guys. Here, let me put in my 2 cents. And it's simple. Like, why take away the thunder from DC? First of all, Jon Jones always has to bust, the party for DC. He's retiring and he's coming to the heavyweight division, tweeting all kinds of crap against DC. The truth of the matter is, I think Jon Jones wanted DC to win. so he could come and get a real big money fight. Everybody would want to see that and see Jones take away the heavyweight title from DC. You know, it's like a really bad divorce. But the thing is that Stipe, I don't think dominated DC in the fight on Saturday. I think he fought very well. They were both striking very well, and Stipe admitted that DC's punches in the first round that hit him behind the ear, anyways, was enough to shake him. The second round, it was close. It almost ended DC. But the truth of the matter is that when you're going to lose an eye like he did, and I know guys that had their retina cut. I've seen it. And let me tell you, man, it's nasty. And you know what? For the guy to continue fighting the way he did, with basically being a Cyclops, you got to give it to DC, man. So you know what? It was an unfair loss.
Here we go. You got to give it to him. AJ, that wasn't the question, though, was it? The question was...
It was the question.
No, the question was, do you think Jon Jones was angling for a fight with Stipe on Saturday night? That was the question.
No, he was angling for a fight with DC. He was hoping DC was going to win because that's where the money's going to be. There's going to be more money to be made if he was fighting DC than Stipe. I can assure you that. And that's what it comes down to. Deep down inside, he wanted DC to win. He had more to get from DC than anything, and most people would have wanted to watch that.
Yeah.
Come on, Dave.
Okay, but
come on.
Okay.
But look,
no. Hold on, AJ. Hang on. Well. Take it easy. Now, look. That's not the question, AJ. The question was, did Jon Jones want to fight Stipe? Okay, and that's AJ, from his tweets. Yeah, like AJ is just confused about everything. So let's continue with what Jon Jones was saying here on Monday. Okay, let's just move on because AJ is not making sense.
No, listen.
Are you guys hearing me all right, by the way? Am I having audio issues? Am I all right? Can you still hear me? Fred, you can hear me?
Crystal clear, bud. It's like you're talking in the back of my ear. Just like...
All right. Okay.
Listen. Whoa.
What?
Whoa. Before you go on
AJ,
the attack
you're not even making sense.
I was, because on Saturday, Jon Jones was hoping DC won. Now that DC lost, for sure he has no choice to fight Stipe. But the truth of the matter is that Dana White said that Ngannou has the shot. And that's what it should be. Why should you take away Ngannou's reason not to fight heavyweight?
That's not what we're talking about, though. That's not at all what we're trying to talk about.
That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, well, that's fine. You can go have your own show then, and good luck doing that, AJ. Go do another show.
At 9 o'clock.
Go do a show that Fred and I aren't on, and it's called AJ's Ramblings. And I'm sure a lot of people will watch, AJ. I'm sure it'll be great.
Okay. Listen, guys, go ahead. Next question.
Probably be great.
It would be. It'd be great.
Next question.
I don't know.
So no, but Jon Jones, he was angling to fight the winner. I disagree with
of course
AJ saying that he wanted DC. Maybe he had a preference for DC because he defeated DC twice, but even that, I don't think Jon Jones wants to be the heavyweight champion, and both fights are big money fights. Like whether it's DC, look, people love DC, but let's not act as if this big needle change.
AJ, do you not see? Can you not read, AJ? I don't understand. Avoid Stipe's right hand. I'm too fast. I'll be too strong when the time is right and have way too much energy. Soon and very soon, I'll be considered the baddest man on this planet. Which I love how AJ has to get real close to the camera when he reads because his eyes are he doesn't want to put on his glasses because he needs reading glasses because he's 70. So, I mean, how do you see that? How do you see this and say, oh, Jon Jones didn't want to fight Stipe? This is why AJ is just completely off the wall, but it's what I've come to understand and love about you, AJ.
AJ wanted to be right.
Listen,
AJ's been promoting the DC Jon Jones 3 match for so long that AJ it's about AJ's ego, man. Come on, you know everything about AJ's ego.
Okay, let's move on from AJ's ego and talk about something a little bit more relevant. Just got off the phone with UFC today. This is on Monday. I confirmed that I'm vacating the light heavyweight championship. It's officially up for grabs. It's been an amazing journey. Sincere thank you to all my competition, UFC, and most importantly, you fans. So it seems like that was a retirement thing. He said he's vacating, right? But is he really vacating the belt or vacating the UFC? Now here's more tweets from Jon Jones, and this was kind of a thread, and it continued over the course of a few days, and it's still going on. The last I spoke with UFC about my salary, there was no negotiating. If that ever changes, I'd love to come back and compete again as a heavyweight. Until then, I'll be enjoying UFC as a fan and doing my best to take care of my family and community. Okay, so that's retirement.
Why do you put a little small c on the UF?
Okay. In
Seriously?
good faith, I will be staying in the testing pool for probably the next half year or so. I'll continue to lift weights and train all the different martial arts. So he says he will continue to be in the USADA testing pool just in case, which means you're not officially retired. Okay. And now it continues like an hour later. An hour later, just had a really positive conversation with UFC. Sounds like there will be negotiations for my next fight at heavyweight. All good news. The weight gaining process begins. So this means he's going to heavyweight. First light heavyweight.
Why is Dave Simon there?
First light heavyweight to win 6 championships in a row. I'll pay $100,000 to whatever charity of their liking. I'll be waiting. And that's just a challenge to the next group of light heavyweights. That's kind of different than...
Easy there, buddy. Easy.
What are you talking
somebody in
about?
20 years is gonna bring back this tweet to Jon Jones and say like, "Hey, we got a guy that has 6 title defense. Now you got to pay $100,000."
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe in 20 years.
Freddie.
Maybe in 20 years, because that's how dominant Jon Jones has been. You couldn't fathom anybody in this generation coming anywhere close. Yet, I'm going to allow AJ now to spew his disrespectful nonsense to the greatest fighter that's ever walked this planet. So go ahead, AJ. Talk about Jon Jones and why he's scared of Dominic Reyes, and that's why he's moving to heavyweight. So I want to talk about, I think what's relevant to me, AJ, before we talk about what's relevant to you, which is going to be like Jon Jones picograms, how he's scared of Dominic Reyes, and how he's going to get smashed by DC and Stipe, and how DC actually won both fights for some reason, and Gustafsson would beat him again. Like, all the nonsense that you're going to spew against Jon Jones. You're going to talk about shooting guns out of cars. You're going to talk about drinking and driving. I know where it's going, AJ, so I'm just going to I'm gonna throw out all your ammunition before you go out.
Seriously, man, give me something.
No, I'm not leaving you anything because I know what you're going to do, and it's just like tired, and I'm just throwing it out there, okay? So before you do that, I want to talk about Jon Jones fighting at heavyweight, who he could potentially fight if he's going to fight soon, and do we care about the light heavyweight division anymore? Like, that's something we're going to talk about as well, because I don't really care if Jon Jones isn't there. But as far as what's next for Jones, I believe he's going to fight at heavyweight. I believe he's done with the light heavyweight title. The new championship will be crowned between Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes on September 26th. The light heavyweight title, new champion crowned next month. So Jones is done. He's going up to heavyweight. I don't think he's going to fight...
Blachowicz and who, you said?
Blachowicz and Reyes.
Okay, cool.
I don't think Jones is going to move up to heavyweight and fight the heavyweight champion right away because, as AJ said, Dana White wants Francis Ngannou up there next against Stipe. That is the fight. That's what's going to happen. That's what the UFC wants for one reason or another. Ngannou's probably easier to negotiate with than Jon Jones is, and that's why Ngannou's getting the fight. It's cheaper, right? So I believe that Jon Jones could wait and fight the winner. I also believe he could come up and fight somebody else at heavyweight while waiting for the winner. And I wouldn't be surprised if that somebody else was Daniel Cormier. I know he says he's retired, but he just went 5 rounds with the heavyweight champion of the world and did all right. He lost. I don't think anybody thinks he won. He lost
he lost an eye, Dave.
He lost a judge's decision. He got punched in that eye. I don't know about you, but I saw him get
he got
mounted.
Poked in the eye.
Yeah, he got poked.
He
got poked after he got punched. Watch the fight again, AJ. So
I did.
I think Daniel Cormier is still very effective as an MMA fighter and still a draw as an MMA fighter. And I'm not sure he wants to go out losing to Stipe. And I think Daniel Cormier believes that there's a chance he could beat Jon Jones at heavyweight.
Losing to Jon Jones is better?
I think it would be much worse. I think it would be far worse. But I think that you chase it. You know, when you're a great athlete like Daniel Cormier, you chase that great moment to go out on. And I could see Daniel Cormier chasing that moment and saying, okay, let's just do one more, fight Jon Jones, and if I can't do it, then... Because now, like, if DC really thinks about his career, it's like, well, you know, Jones had his number at light heavyweight, Stipe had his number at heavyweight. DC was great, but I don't know if you could ever say he was ever the number one... I mean, I guess he was the clear number one heavyweight after he beat Stipe, but he was never really the number one light heavyweight because Jon Jones was always out there looming when DC was a champion.
No, you know what this is? This is basically those that go like, oh, LeBron James, he's not as great as Michael Jordan. I mean, DC's pretty great, man. Of course he's not as great as Jon Jones. Jon Jones defeated him twice.
Yeah,
but DC's still pretty great, man.
It's different, though, because Michael Jordan didn't play... You know, Michael Jordan didn't play LeBron in the NBA Finals and beat him. It's harder to tell. We saw Jon Jones beat up Daniel Cormier twice. Like, that happened. I mean, that actually happened.
There was a lot of other great players during the Jordan era, and people still think they're great, man. DC's a great fighter. Of course, he's
Reggie
not
Miller.
At the level of Jon Jones. I mean,
Reggie
Jon
Miller.
Jones has the titles. No, he's Tim Duncan, man. He has a couple of titles, man. Come on, man.
Okay.
He's a champion.
Okay. He's Tim Duncan. He's not Michael Jordan. I mean, he's Tim Duncan. It's good. Everybody loves Tim Duncan.
He's had a great career, and people should applaud him. And I just want to say one thing. I think he's retired. He's not coming back. DC is very comfortable with the career he's had. I feel he has a future in broadcasting. He has other ways to make money. I think he's done. I would be really surprised. Plus, right now with his eye, man, he's probably out for a couple of months. He's getting older. Why would you want to go fight Jon? Like, DC's smart enough to know that fighting Jon Jones is dangerous. Like, so, no, DC, man, retire. Enjoy retirement. Future Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And Dave, stop being so hard on him.
Yeah, man, seriously. Did you notice how I had to bite my lip this whole time? Listen, first of all, Freddie is right. The man will retire. And you know what? There's no point. He doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to fight Jon Jones for money. There's nothing behind it. If there was for a belt, it would make sense. But right now, he should retire with a cut or torn retina, whatever it is at this point. He's going to be out longer than a couple of months. It has to heal naturally, and if it doesn't heal naturally, then it's going to be operated on, which is going to take him out for all of 2020. We won't see DC till 2021, and he has a career. The guy's an amazing speaker. I mean, this guy overall package, in my opinion, is one of the best fighters the UFC's ever had in both lightweight and heavyweight. And you know what? He's carried himself, man. He's carried himself back in the days of the NCAA when he fought Sale, what's his name?
You mean Cale Sanderson?
Cale Sanderson. Back in the days. The guy's gone that far back to beat a legendary wrestler. The guy's gone to the Olympics. The guy has done so much, and he also has a media career at this point. So you got to give this guy credit. He's an all-round guy, man, that deserves the respect.
Got to give it to him.
You got to give it to him. And you know what? He is going to be a future Hall of Famer. But you know what? Deep 100%. Down inside, if money was going to be made, it would have been great if DC beat Stipe and then Jon Jones would have came walking in. And I guarantee you, he would have stepped ahead of Ngannou if that happened. But at this point here now, Ngannou's coming in, taking over Stipe's belt at some point. And then Ngannou, I mean, will await somebody like Jon Jones? Jon Jones is nuts if he wants to fight Ngannou. There's no damn way you're going to be Ngannou. I don't care how much weight you put on. If you take your picograms or your TRT grams from Vito Belfort or whatever you want, I'm going to tell you something. And then I'm going to tell you something. There's no way you can fight Ngannou. Give me a break. And you know what? Reyes is coming in. He's going to win it on September 26th.
Do you remember Do you remember the Stipe and Ngannou one? Why you counting Stipe out? I don't know why everybody likes to count Stipe out. There's something about Stipe Miocic where no one ever believes in him, despite the fact that he proves time and time again he's the baddest man on the planet.
Listen,
it's super
I
weird.
Believe in him.
No one respects Stipe. It's like he doesn't speak that much. He's not flashy. He's just like an ordinary Joe. Even when you see him, he doesn't look like the most intimidating, scary dude. but he has been the baddest man on the planet for a very long time, and I feel like he doesn't come anywhere close to getting his due. He beat Daniel Cormier a year ago. Nothing has happened since except they've aged a year, and for some reason, Daniel Cormier came in as the favorite. People don't respect Stipe.
He with an uppercut in the first fight.
Okay.
People don't respect He was winning in the second fight. No, Stipe is amazing. I mean, the guy has like all kinds of records right now. And you know what? He's the man. He's the baddest fighter on the planet.
He'll beat Ngannou. Okay, one at a time, guys. One at a time.
In the last 2 years,
go ahead,
Fred. In the last 2 years, Stipe's only fought Daniel Cormier. Since July 7, 2018. 3 fights in a row against Daniel Cormier. He needs to fight somebody else. He needs to get some other names. And yeah, he has a great career, of course, man. Stipe, I don't think anybody is taking away anything of that. He's a little silent. Like, he's not as out there as others, but he's getting his due, man. Stipe's a great fighter.
But he's not as flashy as Ngannou. He's not as flashy as Jon Jones. He doesn't talk as much as DC. Like, he's not the sexy pick for a lot of fights. He's not a huge pay-per-view star, despite the fact that if you look at his resume as far as accomplishments, nobody really can top him. He has the greatest heavyweight of all time. Forget Fedor, forget Cain Velasquez, forget Fabricio Verdum, forget Daniel Cormier. Stipe Miocic is the greatest heavyweight mixed martial arts fighter of all time. No one has ever been better than Stipe. No one has won more championship fights, heavyweight championship fights in the UFC now. Stipe actually has tied the record of Randy Couture, a record that he will beat in his next fight when he beats Francis Ngannou. And then they'll throw Jon Jones at him, and he's going to beat Jon Jones too. He's going to beat everybody. He's going to retire. I mean, unless he sticks around for too long, he's winning his next fight. He's winning the next one after that. Jon Jones is very good. He's a very good fighter. But he's not fucking with Stipe Miocic, man. After what I saw Saturday night, after what I saw last year, after what I've been seeing over the past several years, and I was a doubter, man. I doubted Stipe Miocic a lot. A lot of times I said, maybe Verdum will beat him. Nope. Stipe knocked him out in the first round, became heavyweight champion in Brazil. Went to Brazil and did that. I thought, maybe Junior Dos Santos will beat him. Dos Santos beat him last time. It was a close fight, but maybe JDS will take the title back. Nope. Stipe starched him in the first round. This version of Stipe Miocic, man, don't doubt him. Do not doubt this guy. He's the baddest man on the planet. He's the greatest heavyweight ever. Stipe, all day.
No, Dave, I'll give you that. I mean, one thing with Stipe, when he has a game plan, he sticks to it. I mean, with his team, they have such a good rapport. He stuck to that game plan. He came out fast in this third fight. He went right to the body on DC, and we were talking about that the week before, saying that's the key to Stipe's win is to start fast, get to the body, and he did. Listen, I don't think it's a great fight when somebody loses kind of an eye. It doesn't matter where you are in boxing and whatnot. You lose that eye, you're halfway of losing that fight. And it was just it's not a spectacular way to win, but a win is a win. And Stipe did it. But you know what? It just sucks for Cormier because you know what? He didn't do too bad in the first round. Second round was not great, but he came back in the third, man.
So you're saying that if he didn't get poked in the eye, he would have won. That's AJ's out. That's AJ's excuse. That's
I'm not saying
AJ.
he would have
I'm
won.
going to say it would have been a different fight. I don't know if he would have won.
Yeah.
But you guys, Fred,
the eye injury definitely affected him.
Well, did we not see swelling in the eye before the poke, though? Wasn't DC's... I mean, it was definitely hurt worse after the fact, after the eye poke. It didn't help, but I feel like DC's eye was already messed up.
He got jabbed in the eye, man.
By the time... Before... Yeah, jabbed in the eye with a punch. Like, he was hit in the eye several times, and his eye was already swollen by the time he got poked. Like, yeah, the poke doesn't help, but, like, I don't know if the poke caused the whole eye injury. I'm not sure about that. Well, yeah, that's what you're saying, AJ.
Jabbed. But that's what they're saying. If you look at the
come on,
the information that was given from the injury, he got poked in the eye, man. Simple. You don't cut your retina from a jab. That's from a fingernail.
Don't take it away from Stipe. Injuries happen. I mean, look, when Anderson Silva broke his leg, it's not Chris Weidman's fault. So in the end, I don't think Stipe did anything dirty to injure him or anything. So I'm not going to take anything away from Stipe.
Yeah.
He won, man. Applaud him. And unfortunately, Daniel Cormier is old and he's probably going to retire. That's my opinion of Cormier. And I love Cormier. I applaud him. He's a Hall of Famer. I just don't think he should continue. And I think he's smart enough that he knows he doesn't need to continue. I hope Stipe fights Jon Jones, but I predict it's going to be Ngannou because it's probably just an easier fight to get done right now, which kind of makes weird that Jon Jones vacated the title. If he's not, like, I have the rankings here in front of me, and who else can Jon Jones fight at heavyweight? Like, I don't agree with DC coming back. Why would he do that to himself? Mm-hmm. Why would DC come back to fight for a fight that he's probably going to lose? And the other fights are just not as sexy as the championship for Jon Jones. Like Jon Jones, Curtis Blades, Jon Jones, Jairzinho, Jon Jones, Derek Lewis. I mean, I'll watch it, but I want to see Jon Jones against Stipe. That's the one I want to see.
Yeah, but at the same time, look at what Stipe is about to do. He's going to fight Francis Ngannou. That is going to happen next. Stipe Miocic last fought August 2019. His fight now was August 2020. That's one fight a year. If we're looking at Stipe not fighting till next summer, I mean, we can't wait that long for Jon Jones. If Stipe fights Ngannou next summer, what, he fights Jon Jones summer of 2022? That's the next time we see Jon Jones? We're not having that. Jon Jones is going to have to fight somebody before he fights the heavyweight champion. Why not Jairzinho? Like, you say it's not a sexy fight. Okay, you put that in the main event of a pay-per-view. It's Jon Jones' first step up at heavyweight. He's fighting Jairzinho. It's a test to see how he handles the big heavyweight punches, the power, the size, the difference there. And to me, Jairzinho against Jon Jones is just as interesting, if not more interesting, than a bunch of the fights he's had recently. What do you want to see? Jon Jones against Jairzinho, or Jon Jones and Dominic Reyes, or Jon Jones and Anthony Smith, or Thiago Santos? Like
Jones versus Stipe. That's the fight I want to see.
Fred, it's not going to happen for us. It's not happening. It's out of the question.
I'll just give you a couple examples. When GSP went up to middleweight, he didn't go and fight like Tim Kennedy. He fought the champ. When BJ Penn got his shot at welterweight, he fought GSP. Like when
he was a former champion, though.
Champions,
former champion at welterweight before he fought GSP.
Okay, but when big champions go up a weight class, typically they get a title fight. They don't go up Anderson Silva. Okay, he fought a couple of fights that weren't title fights. But I want to see Jon Jones get the title fight.
All his fights at light heavyweight weren't title fights, Fred. And he fought.
But he never committed going up to the Forrest Griffin and James Irvin. Well, maybe after that
Stephen Bonner.
But
Stephen Bonner.
Yeah, well, by then he's already not the same Anderson Silva.
Maybe. But
he's not the
Daniel
guy competing
Cormier
for a champion.
Daniel Cormier, too. He fought him at 205. He lost that one, but he did fight Daniel Cormier at 205.
But I mean, when he was in his prime.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going up a weight class, I feel, and Jon Jones is committing to heavyweight. If he's committing to heavyweight, then give him the championship fight right away. Like, why would he risk fighting Jairzinho? Like, I don't know. If I'm Jon Jones, I want Stipe. I'll wait for Stipe.
If you can beat Stipe, you should be able to beat Jairzinho. I'm of the belief
but you should get Jairzinho first.
Yeah, get Jairzinho first.
Get Stipe first.
Why?
No, agree with me, Fred.
Why? What? No. Listen to this. I'm going to tell you what it should be. You get somebody that has a name behind, somebody who could stand up, not so much of the guys, the knockout punches. You want to see a fight. So you got to get Jones, a big name to come in. You get him somebody like Overeem. You get Overeem with Jones, and all of a sudden, that's a pay-per-view sell. That's
Derek
a
Lewis.
big name. If Jones can... Derek Lewis. No, I'd go with Overeem, man. If Jones can manhandle Overeem, then
Lewis.
It becomes... I think he would kill Derek Lewis, but you don't have a bigger name than Overeem, my friend.
I feel like Derek Lewis is more relevant right now than Overeem.
Not at all, man.
Yeah,
Overeem is the man.
Derek Lewis is a fight away from the world championship, really. Derek Lewis is going to fight Curtis Blades on November 28th for the UFC. If he wins that fight, it's going to be tough to say he doesn't deserve the winner of Ngannou and Stipe. It might even be tough to say he doesn't deserve Stipe straight up because he beat Ngannou. It was a terrible fight, but he technically won. Derek Lewis coming off a big win. I mean, if he beats Curtis Blaydes, if Derek Lewis beats Curtis Blaydes, he's going to have a case at a heavyweight championship. Overeem is not in that discussion. So, I don't know. I feel like Derek Lewis is a bigger fight.
No. Derek Lewis is ranked 7 while you got Overeem ranked 5th. So that's the difference. When you want to do like a fight for Jones, he's on the top 5. And that's the name. You got a guy who has over 46 wins in his career. You get a guy like that to fight Jon Jones, and people will come out and buy. Everybody knows Overeem. Everybody. From one part of the world to the next, they'll know Overeem.
The new generation probably knows Derek Lewis more.
Yeah, also, if you look at the actual UFC rankings that you were trying to quote there, AJ, Derek Lewis is...
Not UFC, World Rankings.
Yeah, well, those rankings don't mean anything. I mean, neither do the UFC rankings, but those are more official. I don't know what the world rankings even are. I think you've made those up. They have Jairzinho and Derek Lewis tied for 4th and Alistair Overeem at 6th. So the UFC's rankings have Derek Lewis ranked ahead of Overeem, which makes sense to me. Either way, I think Jon Jones against Overeem or Derek Lewis, whatever, would be a good fight, and I'd be happy with that as a tester. And if he wins that, 100% given the winner of Ngannou and Stipe. I don't think there could be any debate if Jon Jones moved up to heavyweight and beat one of these top contenders, then you would have to give him the title shot, you know? So I think that there's going to be some guys upset if you give Jones a heavyweight shot right away. If Ngannou doesn't get the shot, or Derek Lewis or whoever, some of these guys that have been in heavyweight, yeah, Fred, you're right. Look, I fundamentally agree with you. It's just Dana White who doesn't agree with us. Like, I think Jon Jones should fight Stipe now. Give me that shit right fucking now. But Dana White, you know, he's hardballing Jon Jones. He's being Dana White, and he wants to give the fight to Francis Ngannou. Meanwhile, when is that fight even going to fucking take place, Dana? Next year? You're telling us we have to wait for Jon Jones and Stipe until 2022, possibly? That's bullshit. Give it to us next. Fred, I agree with you 100%. Dana should give this shit to us now. Jones... Stipe should have been the fight last Saturday. Fuck that. He already beat DC. Fuck that. It should have been Jones Stipe last Saturday. That's what we should have seen, all right? Fuck, just give it to me now. What are we waiting for?
But Dave,
I'm in agreement. I'm just telling you the reality of the situation and trying to figure out what we could do otherwise. But Dana White, he's the only roadblock in this. Fred, you and I are on the same page here. We agree. It's just Dana. Dana's not playing ball.
He's not the only roadblock. He's not the only roadblock.
And Ngannou, who doesn't want to shut up.
But listen, these guys are legit heavyweights. Jon Jones has to make his way to heavyweight, which means he has to have a whole sparring camp with heavyweights. He has to change his game plan to heavyweights, and he has to fight the top 10 styles that are ahead of him in the heavyweight. So it's going to take some time.
10 guys? You want us to fight 10 guys? What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying the top 10. The top 10 in heavyweight right now are different fighters than the light heavyweight fighters in the top 10. He's got to go up. We saw Gus going to heavyweight, which I thought he was going to do much better, and it didn't work out so well. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of times when people move ranks,
it's not the same.
You know, or weight classes,
very different.
Things become different. But you know what? Jon Jones needs at least 6 months before he could get into an actual fight on a heavyweight scale.
Jon Jones walks at least at 225. Jon Jones walks at least at 225, which is only 8 pounds lower than what Stipe weighed in. Jon Jones could fight Stipe. I got no problem.
Yeah,
100%.
But Stipe comes down. Stipe came down.
Be a different matchup. Like Ngannou and all that might be different matchup because now you're dealing with more weight. But as for him, like, he'll manage, man. He'll be a slim heavyweight. Jon Jones is a legend, man.
Yeah, Jon Jones would beat... I think Jon Jones
and I'll tell you
beats Ngannou, but I don't think he beats Stipe.
My biggest issue with Jon Jones this week was him asking for like a painting of the greatest and not including George St. Pierre. He wanted a painting of him, Anderson Silva, and Fedor. And he never mentioned GSP. I'm like, oh, is there something here, Jon Jones? Why
you ever seen that video?
Should be in that painting.
You ever see that video where it looks like Jon Jones is trying to avoid GSP?
No.
You never seen that?
At a club?
Yeah.
No, get it.
At
Can
a
you
club?
get it?
Yeah. Fred,
No.
you've
I
seen
think
that.
I know what
Where
you're
was it?
talking
In
about.
Russia?
I don't know if
Big,
I can
get
show
it, man.
this.
Get that video.
I don't.
New York, I think.
I don't think I can show it because it's like somebody else's YouTube. Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't think I
cares,
could
man?
show the
Don't
video.
get sued.
Yeah. Well, we might get our show pulled from YouTube, so I don't want that. That would suck.
Is it a high player? Is it a high player?
I'll show it to you later, AJ.
Damn.
Such an old
wanted
man.
to
You don't
see
know
it.
anything on the internet. Jon Jones and DC, I think, would be a fun fight again, but it's just not going to happen. Jon Jones, I believe, should fight Stipe Miocic next, but I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll see what happens with Jon Jones. There's a lot of options out there, but I tell you this much: he's not moving to light heavyweight to avoid Dominic Reyes. And if Dominic Reyes thinks that, or anybody thinks that, like if AJ thinks that, I don't know, man. I don't think you run away from Dominic Reyes to fight Stipe Miocic. Like, that doesn't seem like a very logical move. I'm going to avoid this man and fight the baddest man on the planet, greatest heavyweight ever. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense. So everybody's saying, well, Jon Jones is just scared of the Dominic Reyes rematch. I think that's just silly talk. I don't think Jon Jones is scared of anybody. Dominic Reyes thinking that Jon Jones is scared of him. Like, really? I don't think there's any man that Jon Jones should be scared of. He's Jon Jones. Fred?
You guys remember the soundbite of when it was a press conference between Ken Shamrock and Tito Ortiz, and Shamrock's like telling Ortiz, I'm going to destroy you, I'm going to blah, blah, blah. And then Ortiz just like pauses and cracks up laughing. And that's probably how Jon Jones reacted to Dominic Reyes. Like, listen for a second and just went like, what are you talking about, man? Come on. Scared of Dominic Reyes.
Scared of Dominic Reyes?
Yeah,
Imagine that.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. Well, you know what? And you can say whatever you want, but there's a lot of people that were on my side that said that Reyes won that fight. And everybody knows that. Reyes knows that. Jon Jones knows that. And you can say all you want, but the bottom line is that if Reyes wins September 26th, what?
He lost.
No, he lost. Yes, he lost
Bottom
by the
line
eyes
is
of the
Reyes
judges.
lost.
But yes, by the eyes of the judges that were not screwed on tight. They probably got eye poked. And I'm going to tell you something. September 26th comes. Reyes is going to be the new lightweight heavyweight champion. He's going to call out Jones like there's no tomorrow.
Lightweight heavyweight champion.
Light heavyweight champion. And you know what? What it's going to come down to is that Jones has two choices. Either come back and regain that belt, which I don't think he's going to be Reyes. Come on, man. You know it, and I know it that Reyes won that fight.
He's going up to heheavyweight. Wait. What are you talking about?
Let me tell you something.
He's going nowhere,
man.
AJ's
side a little bit.
He's going in his car to shoot at homeless people. That's what he's going to do again.
If Ngannou and Stipe is the next heavyweight fight, and Reyes wins the title, well, hey, Jon Jones might just come back in the meantime to just defeat Reyes, win back the title, and vacate it again.
Yeah, shut people like AJ up.
I would rather see Jon Jones go win back his title against Reyes than face some scrub at heavyweight. Like, if he's going to heavyweight, give me a big fight. I don't want him to be fighting some mid-level guy.
Like Overeem?
Well, Overeem's old right now. Like, yeah, I'm not really interested. Plus, don't they
Derek
train
Lewis?
together? Overeem doesn't Overeem has a relationship with Greg Jackson or something?
I don't think anymore. Overeem is a gym hopper. He moves around. I think Dominic Reyes, like, I don't know, man. I don't understand his deal. It's a little bit strange. I think Jon Jones definitely won that fight. I've seen Jon Jones in close fights, and then I've seen him in the rematch, and it's nowhere near close. Like, Jon Jones Gustafsson, that was tight. The first one. The second one, not so much. Jones destroyed him. Jon Jones DC, first one was tight. Second one, not so much. I feel like the Reyes rematch would play out in a similar fashion with Jon Jones finishing Dominic Reyes and leaving absolutely no doubt, but I don't think there's really a point. I don't think Jon Jones really cares about the, dozens of Dominic Reyes fans that exist out there that are like, you're scared of Dominic Reyes. Like, no one really cares.
You're generous
About those. Yeah, exactly. I'm being generous by saying dozens there, but Like, no one cares about Dominic Reyes enough,
Don't
and
be
Jon
haters,
Jones knows
guys.
that.
Don't be the
Jon Jones
haters.
knows that there's no money in the Dominic Reyes fight, even though it was close. Nobody cares to see them fight again. There was some demand after years to see the Gustafsson fight again. There was some demand to see DC because the rivalry was so heated. There's absolutely nothing in it for Jon Jones to fight Dominic Reyes again. He knows he's better than Reyes. He knows that he proved it in the fight. He doesn't really care that other. He
did you watch
doesn't
the same
really
fight?
care that
What are you
other
on-
people
Guys.
didn't believe in it. But if you watch that fight, Jon Jones won, and he doesn't need to fight Dominic Reyes again. And we will see. We will see very clearly on September 26th, or is it? Yeah, the 26th, that Jan Blachowicz and Dominic Reyes are not worth the time of one Jon Jones, because they're not worth the money, because they're not pay-per-view draws. And I would contest that this is maybe
neither was Jon Jones
this is
at times.
the least anticipated, least interesting light heavyweight title fight in at least a decade in the UFC. This is the first time in my memory, and AJ, I know you've been around since, Helio Gracie was in diapers, so you can help us out. But in my memory, I don't think that a UFC light heavyweight championship fight has ever been a co-main event of a pay-per-view. Those things are usually the main event of a pay-per-view, especially when you have lighter guys actually main eventing the thing. The rule used to be in the UFC is if you had an 170-pound title fight and then a heavyweight title fight, well, that heavyweight title fight will go on last because it just goes with the heavier guys. They'll go on last. That's just how the UFC worked up until a certain point, and now it seems like, well, whatever, we'll fit you in however we can, because on September the 26th, the Jan Blachowicz-Dominic Reyes fight for the light heavyweight title is the co-main event to Israel Adesanya and Paulo Costa, who are fighting for the 185-pound championship. They're middleweights, and they're going on last, while the 205-pounders go on second to last right before them. That shows you that Jan Blachowicz was definitely not worth Jon Jones' time to fight next, and Dominic Reyes isn't either. The UFC doesn't believe in them because they're not worth main eventing a pay-per-view. That's sad. That's a sad statement on the future of the light heavyweight division without Johnny Bones Jones. I saw Anthony Rumble Johnson has re-entered the USADA testing pool, and he intends to come back as a light heavyweight. Great news for the light heavyweight division. We need a guy like Rumble Johnson, because right now DC's gone, Jon Jones is gone. The light heavyweight division is Jan Blachowicz and I don't know. I mean, maybe Gustafsson should drop back down. He's got a shot now. Like all these guys that lost to Jon Jones, like they got a shot. Anthony Smith, he's got a shot.
Point.
You got a shot, boys. Jon Jones is gone.
Man,
the big bad wolf is gone.
I'm going to tell you. Listen, the guy who has the most shot to end up being champion of this if Jones stays out is somebody that you predicted, Dave. Someone that you became like the fanboy per se, and you know who it is.
Yeah, you can't pronounce his name.
Who is it, AJ?
Who is it?
Well, I can say his first part. I can't say Magomed. I don't know how to say his last name, but I'm going to tell you. This
Ankalaev.
kid, don't exactly. There you go, Dave.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is,
He was going
this
to
will
be
get
Jon
exciting
Jones
as soon as this guy moves up. Well, that's what you said, and I kind of agree with that. If Jon Jones would have
you
stuck
want anybody.
around, but
You don't
listen,
care. You want
Magomed-
anybody to beat Jon Jones. Fred, you were not happy with my assessment. Am I not giving enough respect to the Dominic Reyes Jan Blachowicz fight? Like, is that a big time title fight? Do you give a shit?
You're right. You're right. It's not a big time title fight. Look, man, when Johnny Hendricks and Robbie Lawler fought for the title after GSP took his retirement, the division survived, and so will the light heavyweight. There'll be some new stars that will come up. And the only thing I think issue is that on that same card, it's Adesanya against Costa, which to me is like the biggest fight left this year. So if anything, Reyes and Blachowicz should be happy to be on the same card as these two. And if you're Reyes or Blachowicz, man, bring the show, make a star out of yourself. Like, this is opportunity, jump on it. But look, Adesanya Costa, that's the biggest fight left this year, man. Of course, they're not going to be a main event over them. I think it's either Conor or Ronda that changed that rule, where Conor was so big that he had to be like the main event, no matter who was fighting. Yeah, Ronda also.
Look,
yeah.
So,
look, Adesanya has been like talking a lot of trash this whole week. He's been going after Jon Jones. He says he was going to go after him at light heavyweight. He says he's going to move up the heavyweight to go fight Jones if he actually makes it into the heavyweight division. And
do better. You gotta do better against Yoel Romero and then come back to talk to me about fucking going up to heavyweight and fighting Jon Jones. I swear to God, that UFC pay-per-view in September is going to be the drizzling shits. It's going to fucking suck. It's going to be 2 title fights. I hate when they do this. 2 title fights. They're both going to suck, the fights, by the way. They're both going to go the distance and be terrible, okay? Dana White's trying to sell the shit out of this fight. Paulo Costa, Israel Adesanya, because the last Israel Adesanya fight, Dana White keeps telling you that Paulo Costa, Israel Adesanya is going to be fight of the year because he's a promoter, and Israel's last fight was a fucking snoozer. That Yoel Romero fight was the fucking worst. Nothing happened. It was like they set an all-time record for no strikes thrown in a fight. It was disgusting, right? It was fucking horrible. It was one of the worst fights I've ever seen in my entire life. And now we're going to see the fucking return of Israel Snoozefest Adesanya? I don't fucking think so, boys. This is going to be boring, okay? And you're going to give me a fucking Jan Blachowicz, Dominic Reyes co-main event? They're going to go 5 rounds. It's going to suck, okay? Jan Blachowicz is going to be your new light heavyweight champion. No one will give a shit. And then fucking Israel Adesanya is going to avoid Paulo Costa's power for 5 rounds and take home a very, very squeaky decision. And then we're all going to go home. I just predicted the fights and gave you your fucking winners and everything. Method of victory. Put the bets down now. It's going to fucking happen. Both fights are going the distance. And we're going to do a watch-along till 2 in the fucking morning. And it's going to suck. I hate being up that late to watch a UFC pay-per-view. And them shits at 12:30 or 1 a.m. at the very latest. Those double main events where they have 2 title fights and they both go 5 rounds. Fuck that. 2 a.m.? I get sleepy, boys. I don't want to do that shit. I don't want to be watching a UFC pay-per-view for 5 fucking hours. I'm telling you guys, I am predicting a shitty fucking pay-per-view that night, all right? And it's all because of Dominic Reyes. Listen, it's Dominic Reyes' fucking fault, okay?
No. Listen, dude, let's hope for one miracle. Let's hope for one big miracle. The miracle is this, that this pandemic shit is going to be over so we can all get in studio and do this watch-along and play poker and get drinks and have a good time. So September 26th won't be that bad. Maybe. I'm crossing my fingers, Dave. Let it happen. Get your girlfriend. I saw you already went out to play wiffle ball, so you're already a step closer to freedom. Right, Freddie? You went out to play wiffle ball. I saw Dave in the picture on Facebook. He's out and about. He wasn't wearing a mask. I saw you not wearing a mask, and the guys that were around you had no mask.
It was a socially distanced picture, and we were outdoors.
What are you talking about? You're playing wiffle ball.
Yeah, you know how to play wiffle ball? It's like baseball. You're throwing a ball and you're hitting it. You're not really coming close to anybody.
You wash the ball every time somebody touched it?
No.
Because, I mean, your hands have germs and...
Everybody I was playing with was family. Everybody was family. All right? I only played with my family. I mean, they're, extended family. No, that's true. They live in Quebec City, but that's okay. It's okay.
No, I mean, because of the corona, you haven't seen anybody except your brother and parents.
Yeah. Well, I'd see you guys outside. I said we got to do a wiffle ball game, the Ringside Report Family Day, I'm trying to get a...
whenever I saw that,
the next day I had a little cough, man. I think you gave me that.
Oh, yeah? I gave you a cough?
What?
Yeah, I gave Fred coronavirus.
Jesus.
It comes free with every 5th visit.
Might have been.
That's right.
Might have been.
Every 5 shows you get
Dave gave me something, all right.
Yeah,
he came out with that crazy water gun, and I was soaked like from head to toe. That was what I got.
You guys done?
And I did have a cough after too, just to let you know.
Yeah, I have coronavirus. I've had it since February. I still have it, and it feels great. I love it. Num.
Seriously, man, let's get this show. Let's get this show
patient zero
back in studio.
Yeah, I invented it. I'm from Wuhan. I'm from the Wuhan clan.
And you know what? Listen, and on another note, before I forget, I want to get it in studio so I can officially get my bagels that you owe me.
Yeah.
So get those bagels, and we could do a double or nothing for September 26th that I'm predicting that Reyes is going to win, Costa will win, And you know what? It's going to be a fantastic September 26th UFC card where it's going to be the opposite. So we're going to remember the show. What's the date again today? The 20th of August. I'm going to bring it up. I'm going to edit it with Johnny, and we're going to get this clip where you say it's going to suck. And me and Freddie are both giving it the thumbs up for September 26th.
I blame Romero for that fight. So, yeah, Adesanya Costa, that's a great fight. You're crazy, man.
Yeah, man.
But Reyes Blachowicz might suck. I do agree there.
No, I don't think so. I think it's going to be, I'm telling you, Reyes is going to end that fight early. It's not going to go to distance.
Okay.
Let's not forget,
I got
he
Reyes.
did beat Jon Jones.
I got Reyes.
I don't.
See, Freddie knows.
I don't
Freddie
believe
knows.
in Blachowicz.
I got Blachowicz.
I mean, I just don't believe in Blachowicz.
I do. Polish power. I'm going with Blachowicz to win.
That's true. The Polish
Polish power.
Strong.
Alliteration has swayed AJ once again.
That's true.
AJ, what's alliteration?
You got me there, Dave.
Do you know?
You got me there.
Do you not know?
What did you say?
You're a good man. You're a good man, AJ. Are you?
What did you say?
So,
Liberation.
I'm going to tell you about my friends over at IP Vanish. You got to go to IP Vanish to secure yourself on the internet.
Like Jon Jones.
You're going back to
like
school.
Jon Jones.
You're going back to school. There's all sorts of deals right now, and IP Vanish has a deal until the end of this month. You can get IP Vanish now for just $49 a year. That comes out to $4.16 a month. That's a great deal for the annual plan of IP Vanish. Secure yourself on the internet. It is a 65% off savings. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net, vpn.ringsidereport.net. You need it on all of your devices to stay safe, be unhackable, and mask your identity as well. So never see those uploader has not made this video available in your country things anymore. Watch things from all different places. Pretend like you're in America to watch American Netflix. You know what I'm saying? There's different stuff on U.S. Netflix. Did you know that? I knew that because I have IP Vanish. vpn.ringsidereport.net. You didn't know that? You know, there's different stuff on British Netflix. There's different stuff on American Netflix. There's different stuff on Canadian Netflix. I think there's at least 3 different Netflix, but I'm sure you can figure out all the different countries by going to IP Vanish. Go to vpn.ringsidereport.net and sign up today. Great deal. $49 for a whole year.
You know what? Why don't you just change the name from Ringside Report to IP Vanish / Jon Jones? But you know what?
That's a weird name for a show.
Why, man? Nobody's vanishing faster than Jon Jones. Go ahead, Dave. Nice commercial.
Go ahead, Dave. I like when you tell me to go ahead. Go ahead, Dave. Go ahead.
Cue it on, man.
I'm not really sure what
By the
I'm
way,
supposed
that was
to go
a very
ahead
good
to.
commercial.
Yeah, thanks.
I thought you were going to do a Manscaped or something.
I'll get to that.
Like, when you have
Look at my
balls,
hair.
You leave the lightweight division.
Look at my hair.
Division,
you see that?
It looks great. It looks like a cue ball.
I got a nice haircut. This is on a 1, okay? I didn't use my Manscaped for this, but this is on a 1. That's what I like. I like it on a 1. I like it real short. Feels good to me. I feel aerodynamic. And now, not just here on a 1.
You look like George St. Pierre.
The whole body on a 1, baby, okay? Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com. Use that promo code RINGSIDE20 to get 20% off your order plus free shipping. Use a Lawnmower 3.0, a fantastic razor. Get you nice shaved down. Your balls will thank you. There's so many great products from Manscaped. They have ball deodorant. Keep your balls smelling just fresh. You know, you need to smell fresh. It's summertime. Things get sweaty. Manscape yourself. Be a gentleman. Manscaped.com, promo code RINGSIDE20, and get 20% off your order plus free shipping. It's a great product. We all use it. Look at me. Looking great. Nice. Shaved down. Aerodynamic. I'm gliding around. Everybody's looking at me. I'm showing my balls off. People are like, those are some fantastic balls. Well, where did you get balls like that? Manscaped. That's where I got them. Okay? I mean, genetics.
You're classy as Fook, man.
I'm classy as Fook. That's why I show my balls everywhere, because I'm classy like that.
Nice, Dave. But actually, you know what? You do look good, man. I'll be honest. You look like George St. Pierre, the younger version.
Yeah, that's right. Because he's quite a bit older than I am. He's actually not much older than I am, but he's like a good 6 years older than me, 6, 7 years. And
really?
He looks
sure about that.
George? Yeah.
How old are you? How old are you?
Oh no, George maybe 5 or 6 years. You're right. No, you're right. I just did the math.
How old are you?
I forgot how old George was. I was thinking George was 40, but he's not 40 yet, right?
No.
He's
Take
like
it
30.
easy there, Dave.
He's
Don't rush him.
39.
Don't rush the St. Pierre.
George 39.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
he's about
not
what?
40, I
38?
know.
No,
And-
38.
And,
Yeah,
and
he's
you're
about
more
38.
than
39.
33, so there's definitely more than 7 years.
Yeah, okay, so he's like 5 years older than me.
I
5 to
thought
6
Dave
years.
was like 25.
That would be
He's
weird.
born in 81. You're born in what, 80?
85. Yeah. What's he? But he's
So
like
you're
May
4 years.
8. He's like May.
Around, yeah. It's like
George is
around
4
my
years
year,
and a
too.
half.
George is May and I'm October. All right, so 4.5. All right, George is like way older than me.
Are we
okay?
kids right now? We're counting half
Let's just
years.
say that's right. Let's just say if George and I were in high school together, I'd be in grade 7 and he'd be in grade 11. So he'd be like a way big kid. You know what I mean?
He'd be bullying you.
And
But
if
that's
AJ
okay.
and I were in high school together, AJ would be like left back 20 years.
No, I'd probably
AJ
be the
would be the
teacher. That's
teacher.
what it would be.
Yeah, he'd be the teacher, and
Phys ed teacher.
we would be learning nothing. It
Hey,
would
listen,
be really hard to
listen,
get through a class.
Listen, on that note, I'm going to tell you a quick story about a teacher. So I'm at work, other than Ringside Report, and there's the security guard, and he's talking about like the show and everything, and he's like, it's so awesome, and he goes talking about wrestling, and I mentioned Johnny North, and he knows Johnny North, and then he goes, man, I had this crazy teacher, a science teacher. He was nuts. He used to staple himself. We were all freaking out, and we all went to his wrestling match. And I'm like, what? What teacher did you have?
Yeah.
And apparently, it was the Green Phantom.
Yeah.
I had no idea the Green Phantom was a science teacher. How crazy does that get? And how crazy does it get when you got that guy's a teacher stapling himself in front of his students?
Yeah.
Now that's a teacher. Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, I knew he was a teacher. I
I
know the
had
guy.
no idea, man.
I know him pretty well. I knew what his shoot job was. Like, yeah, I'm aware. I guess
I
you're
had
trying
no
to
clue, man.
tell me that story. Like, I'm surprised. Like, I know the guy. You know, we did a podcast together. He's been to my home. Like, I know him pretty well. I know his girlfriend.
Dude, it's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like saying
Yeah, I'm not
Jon
surprised.
Jones wants to become a priest. That's how surprised I was. The Green Phantom, a teacher? That was awesome.
AJ DeLesio, a father? That's like more shocking, I think. You know?
Not more than
AJ,
to me, man. Not
you're
more
like
than...
are you changing diapers? Like, are you?
Look, I'm going to tell you something.
He's not. Fred, I mean, you change diapers, right?
I've changed diapers. It's not my favorite, dude. I'm telling you.
But Fred,
It's not my favorite. I don't like
You're changing
diapers.
at least a diaper or two a day, right?
Of course,
Probably
I got
more.
2 kids, man.
Is Susie potty trained?
Not yet, man. Coming
Get-
close.
Getting there, yeah. We're like we're halfway there. We're halfway there. He pees in a potty, but he doesn't shit in the potty. So I'm trying to. We're almost
I
there.
can't wait because I'll tell you what, she's starting to have some pretty adult shit. So.
Yeah, right.
I want her. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
as
like,
they
all right,
grow
that's
older,
enough.
it just gets more nastier. Like,
That's it. At a certain point, it's like, all right,
What the hell?
it's enough, you know. But AJ, I'm
Something to look
concerned. I
forward
feel
to.
like you don't change diapers. Like I feel like you're not changing
I do.
a diaper
No,
a day
no,
at
I
least.
do.
Just diapers.
I'm not great at changing diapers. It's not my best, skill level. But I'm going to tell you something. It's pretty nasty, man. And I've seen a lot of nasty shit in my life. But it's
Wow.
you know what? Top to the diaper changers, better than I. Muscles Marco told me that once. He's like, you know how good I am at changing diapers? I love
Yeah.
it and I miss it. I should just get him over to change the diapers.
It's not that bad. It's fine. I mean, you get used to it.
I
At
don't
first,
know. I
Yeah.
can't get used to that shit. No,
yeah,
no,
see?
pardon the pun.
That's it. That's what I'm saying, Fred. Like AJ, like when I've talked to him about it, he's like, no, I don't know. I don't really do it. I don't really like it. I'm like, really? You're not changing diapers? He's like, oh, I don't know. He's got like a newborn baby, and he's like, I'm like, eventually, like you kind of do it, right? But I feel like AJ's like, he's so old school that he's like one of those like dads from the 1950s who like, no, I don't change diapers. Ha ha ha. Like, that's for a woman.
Like Leave
to
It to
do.
Beaver.
That's the mom. Yeah,
You
that's
think,
you. You're like
think
a
the Beaver
1950s
changed like the
Lucy,
Weaver's
she's
diapers? I
listening.
doubt it.
Yeah, she is.
Lucy usually listens. So Lucy, make him change a diaper, man. We'll shame him.
No,
It's like,
tell
I've
us we'll
changed.
shame him.
No,
It's like
no.
AJ, you're like
I'm
Tony
just-
Soprano, you know? He goes, to Meadow at some point, they're talking about something. He's like, out there, it's the 1990s. In here, it's 1954. Out there, the 90s. Here, 1954. And Carmella gives a look. She's like, "That's right." And she's like into it for some reason. I'm like, "You realize the implications here, Carmella?" And she's like, "Yeah, that's right how it is." I was like, "Okay." Meadows like, "What the fuck?"
Hats off to Tony Soprano, man.
Yeah, that's AJ.
Hats off to the man.
That's AJ.
He knew what he was talking
50s
about.
were a great time, man.
Yeah, to be a
They
white
were,
man.
man.
To
They
be a
were.
white man, it seemed like you could really get away with whatever you wanted, which I guess for white men like we are, it might have been
Whatever.
crazy. Who knows?
First of all,
I don't know.
First of all,
Seems
I'm
kind
Italian,
of awful,
so
though.
we're
Seems pretty
green.
bad. You're green?
No. The Italians are we're Italian, man. There's no sorry, bud.
Yeah, like Jews.
I'm
You're
not
like right, like me. Kind of white
No,
guys,
no.
but like different style.
Yeah, you're more of
Anyways, this is weird.
matzah,
This is getting
I'm more
weird.
lasagna. And Freddy is a mix between
I'm
poutine
Fred, man.
and
I'm
tapas.
Fred, man.
Fred's Spanish. Everybody knows Fred is
I'm
from
Fred,
Spain.
man.
Not with his French
I'm
accent,
an
you wouldn't
African
know.
American.
That's right.
He
Nice.
actually is.
I know.
I was thirsty.
I'm not lying.
I sent a
And
text like 30 minutes ago asking for a Coke, and it just came in, baby. 57
Well, isn't
minutes
that
ago, I asked for my
1954?
Coke.
Is it?
This is
Isn't
not
that
1954 in
1954?
my house. I asked for a Coke, and the woman only shows up an hour later with it. Unbelievable.
More like 1998-ish. That's when it all started going down. But listen, how did we get onto this topic? We're talking about shit, 1954, Cleaver Beaver, whatever his name is.
Anderson Silva.
What's our
He's
show
gonna
about
fight-
again? Oh, yeah,
I don't-
Anderson Silva.
Anderson Silva's going to fight Uriah Hall. It'll be Anderson's last fight. It'll be on Halloween. Now,
Will it be his
this
last
Trick or
fight?
treat, man.
yeah, Dana says
Listen,
he's
if
got
he
2
loses-
fights. He's got 2 fights left on his contract, but this will be Anderson Silva's final fight. And I think the best part about all of this is Halloween's on a Saturday, guys. So, like, that's good. Like a good long chunk of trick-or-treating, Saturday Halloween. Way better than weekday Halloween. Weekday Halloween, not so
wait,
good.
It's COVID, man. They're probably going to cancel it because
Exactly.
of COVID, man.
Yeah, I'm hoping
Did
that they don't.
When didn't they cancel it a couple of years ago or
Last
whatever
year.
it was?
Last
Was
year,
it
last
the
year?
mayor of
Rain.
Montreal canceled Halloween because of rain. But I was like, no, Halloween's on the 31st, and we went out anyways because, like, what the fuck? What? But this year, yeah, they
Yeah,
might
like,
cancel
seriously.
it because of the pandemic. But, like, I'm hoping not. I'm hoping Halloween actually happens this year, but I don't really know. I guess if we don't go out for Halloween, we could just eat candy and watch Anderson Silva lose to Uriah Hall, which will be
No.
sad enough.
Listen, it actually makes sense to have it on Halloween. So if you really want to get scared, look at the old fight of, like, Anderson kicking Weidman and that leg wrapping around Weidman's leg. Now that was a horror in itself.
Okay, but that's not this fight, AJ, so that's kind of what?
It doesn't
A little-
matter, man. They're going to show highlights of that. It'll be perfect for Halloween, man. Anyways, he's 45 years old. How many more? Like, seriously, it's time to go, Anderson.
I hope he wins.
I hope he wins and he just retires, man. It's. I don't want to see him lose, man. When you've watched Silva in his prime, man, and seen one of the greatest fighters of all time, like, it's sad at this point. That's why I'm kind of glad when George kind of left. He has that mystique with him. He can carry it on. And when he came back to fight Bisping, he had that mystique and won again, and he just keeps going. Maybe that's what Jones wants. He wants to sort of feel who he's going to fight next and keep that mystique with him. And I can see why he's doing what he's doing. But you know what, Anderson, you're 45, man. You got to win this one, man. You got to win it for us, for the old school fans.
It would be nice. Uriah Hall, it's a winnable fight for Anderson Silva, but it's also a losable fight, and Anderson hasn't looked great. Like you said, he's, 45, 46 years old. He's getting up there, and he's not the same Anderson Silva as he used to be, but I'm rooting for him. I think you got to root for him. He's one of the greatest fighters of all time. I wanted to talk.
He's 1-6 in his last 8.
Is that
you know what I'm
really
saying?
true?
Yeah. That's not
not
looking good, man.
No.
With a no contest. So, you know what? It's just, man, it's a shame.
Yeah. Since the Weidman fight, it's all gone downhill since 2013. He lost to Weidman, lost to him again. Had the win over Nick Diaz, which was overturned to a no contest because he tested positive for drostanolone and androsterone, like 2 steroids, which were like that was a bad look for Anderson Silva, one of the greatest, and then USADA comes in, he tests positive. Like, it made you question a lot with Anderson Silva, and then he lost to Michael Bisping in a decision. Then he fought Daniel Cormier on short notice and lost to him, which was, all right. Then he fought Derek Brunson, and, like, he won a decision, but you could have given it to Brunson. It was pretty close. Then he lost a decision to Israel Adesanya. Then he lost because he got kicked in the leg with Jared Cannonier, and he hurt his leg again real bad. I mean, it's just not been the same since 2013. Since that Stephan Bonner fight, when he beat Stephan Bonner, Anderson's lost most of his fights. And even the fight that he won, you could make a case that he actually lost. So, I'm rooting for Anderson.
That's what happens.
I feel like he's totally
That's what
done.
happens.
He's not going to win. I don't think he's going to win. I'd like him to win, but, I wanted DC to win because it would have been a nice story, but I thought Stipe was going to win. I want Anderson to win, but I think that Uriah Hall will win, or whoever they throw up at Anderson right now. It's too bad. It is what it is.
Look, man, I told him, don't hang around with Steven Seagal, and look what happened. Ever since that time, look where he is today. So, look, when Seagal stops calling you,
he was
you know
knocking out Vitor while he was knocking out Vitor while he was hanging out with Steven Seagal. Come on,
yeah,
man.
That was still the prime.
Yeah,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because Steven Seagal taught him the kick,
Okay. I want to talk a little bit.
Unfortunately, he's old, man. That's all. Unfortunately, he's old. I hope he wins, but if he loses, I hope he retires for real. I hope he retires, period, for real.
Daniel Cormier did retire, and I wanted to talk a little bit about DC and his whole run in MMA, a legendary run. One of the greatest fighters I think we've ever seen. One of the greatest heavyweight fighters, one of the greatest light heavyweights, just a model, an inspiration, a guy who you can look up to as a role model. He may not have been able to beat Jon Jones in the octagon, but he beat him at life. DC lives a much better life, a much more respectable life than Jon Jones. He's a guy you can look up to, a guy you can respect, a guy who's been through hardship. Let's not forget, this is a man who lost one of his children. He lost a child. I can't even imagine the pain that DC felt, and then going on to the Olympics and suffering the setback there. He's gone through a lot of setbacks in his career and in his life.
Didn't his dad get shot when he was 7 as well?
Yes.
I mean, he's had it pretty rough from the beginning.
He's had a rough time, but he's managed to persevere. And not only persevere, but become like an example, become a good man, become a good father, a good family man, and a role model, a high school wrestling coach. I mean, a kids wrestling coach. This guy, he gives back to his community. And, he never turned to darkness. He never turned to bad things. He never had a positive test for any kind of performance-enhancing drugs. He passed all his drug tests throughout his Olympic career, throughout his UFC career, and he was a model fighter and a guy that you could look to as a great representative for the sport of mixed martial arts. I was seeing Daniel Cormier fight back in Strikeforce, and I was impressed. He was this Olympic athlete who was rising, getting himself a little undefeated record. I remember when he fought Jeff Monson in Strikeforce, and he beat him. That was impressive. Then he fought Bigfoot Silva. He got into that Strikeforce Grand Prix, the heavyweight thing, the tournament they had. He fought Bigfoot Silva and knocked him out. And then he fought Josh Barnett in the main event, the tournament final. And that was a big deal. And he tossed Josh Barnett around. And I remember Daniel Cormier lifted Josh Barnett over his head and slammed him down. And in that moment, I thought, oh my God, Daniel Cormier is fucking good, man. Like, Josh Barnett was really good and like a legit wrestler and one of the best grapplers in the game, a former UFC heavyweight champion. He looked amazing working his way to the tournament final. I thought Josh Barnett was going to beat Daniel Cormier. I thought he was too experienced. DC ragdolled that man. He beat him by decision, but it was like not close. DC destroyed Josh Barnett. And then he beat Dion Staring again in Strikeforce. And then he made his UFC debut in 2013. He fought Frank Mir. He won a decision. but he didn't look great. He had that fight with Mir, and he looked like just not quite there. And I remember DC talking about it, saying, there was some UFC jitters. He wasn't quite accustomed to the bright lights and everything. Like, it was real. It was in the UFC. It felt more like the big show. And I think DC, the moment got to him a little bit. He still won, but he didn't perform as well as he had in the past. It was a weird one. Then he fought Roy Nelson, and it was another weird one. Like, he won, but he didn't look super impressive. He beat Roy in a 3-round fight, and he looked all right. Then he fought Patrick Cummins. DC was supposed to fight Rashad Evans at UFC 170, but Rashad gets hurt 8 days out. Here comes this guy, Patrick Cummins, who was working at a Starbucks at the time, who had wrestled DC in the past and beat him at some wrestling match at some point. So the UFC was building this like, this guy is DC's kryptonite. DC's undefeated in MMA, but this guy beat him at wrestling, so he can beat him in MMA. And then DC proceeded to mop the floor with Patrick Cummins. And then you saw the level that DC was at when he just destroyed this man in 1:19 seconds. And DC, he didn't look super impressive. And this was DC's light heavyweight debut. Like, up until that point, 13 fights he'd fought at heavyweight. This is the first time he said, okay, I'm going to drop down and make 205 pounds. He made 205, but he's still, a little pudgy. Like, he didn't look jacked, ripped like Patrick Cummins did. Cummins looked ripped, and DC just tore through that man. And then it was like, okay. And then he fought Dan Henderson. And then he finished Dan Henderson, and he beat the shit out of Dan Henderson. And at that time in 2014, Dan Henderson was still a tough fighter. And DC destroyed him. And then he got a title fight. And he fought Jon Jones. Fought him for 5 rounds, and he lost a decision. It was close, but he definitely lost. But he didn't stop. Jon Jones had to disappear from the sport because he got suspended. They vacated the light heavyweight title. DC, after almost getting knocked out in the first round by Anthony Johnson, comes back and just beats him up for 2 rounds and finishes him in the 3rd round, submits him with a rear naked choke, becomes the light heavyweight champion, finally becoming a UFC champion. Then he fights Alexander Gustafsson, goes to war with Gustafsson, beats him in a very good fight. He was supposed to fight Jon Jones at UFC 200. That fight got canceled, 2 days out? Because Jon Jones tested positive for a drug test. So DC decides to fight Anderson Silva on short notice, which is like a pretty ballsy move. Beats him by decision. Not the most impressive fight. DC did what he had to do to win. Took Anderson down and out-wrestled him. And then he fought Anthony Johnson again. Survived the first round and then choked him out in the second. Then it was time for Jon Jones again, and he got kicked in the head. And he got knocked unconscious in the 3rd round. Now, initially, it was called a loss, but then because Jon Jones tested positive for the steroid metabolite turinabol, it was changed into a no contest, and DC was then reinstated as the champion. Then DC beat up Volkan Ozdemir, moved up to heavyweight, knocked out Stipe Miocic. That's prime DC. Probably his greatest accomplishment when he knocked out Stipe and was not only the UFC light heavyweight champion, but the heavyweight champion at the same time. Then he fights Derek Lewis, submits him in New York City, and then the Stipe fights, loses by TKO, and then this past Saturday loses by decision. It's been a hell of a ride with Daniel Cormier. Like, I remember all of those fights. All those fights I mentioned. Like, I remember all those fights. He's given us some tremendous moments of excitement in MMA over the past 10 years. I've been a Daniel Cormier fan since the first time I saw him. I'm still a Daniel Cormier fan. Whatever he does, I'm going to support this guy. I respect this guy. And I thank him for the tremendous career. We salute you, Daniel Cormier. The Ringside Report team salutes Daniel Cormier tonight. One of the greatest fighters ever. One of the most respectable guys. One of the greatest examples for MMA. When you look up what a mixed martial artist should be, how he should carry himself, look at guys like George St. Pierre and Daniel Cormier. Those guys are, I put DC up with a GSP. Like, that's the kind of respect, the way he carried himself. Always professional, always respectful. showing up on time, showing up on weight, except for that time when he cheated to make weight. But other than that, DC was really cool.
All right,
All
GSP
respect.
put a little Vaseline once.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, that's what BJ said. I don't believe that. But DC,
Oh, come on.
was that
Camera
that the
shows it.
was that the Ozdemir fight where DC cheated to make weight?
Maybe.
I think
I
it
don't
was.
remember exactly,
He
but
leaned on his the towel there. It's an old trick. It happens.
Yeah.
Everybody cheats to make
That
weight.
works.
There's a lot of tricks. A lot of tricks work. But, all respect to Daniel Cormier. AJ, you have a favorite Daniel Cormier memory?
Well, you know what? You were talking about like the Josh Barnett fight. I remember that way back. And in fact, Dana White, who doesn't go outside of his organization to watch fights, was watching that fight, and he saw Cormier, and he saw somebody that had something special. He was impressed with Cormier's performance over Josh Barnett. He said that I want this guy in the UFC, and that's where it all started for Cormier. And looking at Cormier throughout his life,
Right. Now, can I just stop you there for a second? I'm sorry, but I heard Dana tell that story too, and Dana's being a little facetious there when he's talking about that. He's like, "Oh, I never watch other promotions, but I watch DC, and I couldn't believe it. And I said, I need that guy in the UFC." When DC fought Josh Barnett, the UFC had already bought fucking Strikeforce. He was getting DC no matter what, and of course he's going to watch it. He fucking owned the promotion at that point. What are you talking about? Fucking bullshit, Dana. He's fucking lying to you again. He rewrites history. He's like, I never watched Strikeforce, but I watched because of Daniel Cormier. No, you watched because you owned the promotion at that time, and you wanted to see who was going to win this tournament because they were potentially going to be a big star in your heavyweight division. Shut the fuck up, Dana. Fucking liar. Dana White's lies, and AJ gets suckered into it.
Listen,
even AJ, who knows the sport, who's astute, still got suckered in. Yeah, someone astute.
I don't believe. Listen, I don't believe that Dana doesn't watch other organizations. I'm sure he watches Bellator, and I'm sure he watches one. He's looking out for other fighters. There's no doubt about it. Oh, I'm sure he does. Listen, if you're Dana White, and if you look at things from a bit, he does because he's a good businessman. He's not up there for no reason.
Yeah, he doesn't care about Bellator.
He's a gambler.
Guys, do you even care about Bellator?
He takes a look.
AJ, do you care about Bellator?
Only when there's some really good fights,
Oh, yeah?
I'll watch it. For sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to go out of my way.
What's the last fight you watched?
I watched the Chandler fight. I saw it, and it was good. And you know what? I'll be honest. And that's another guy that's coming to the UFC. So he didn't get there for no reason. Dana White saw this guy, and he's coming. And you know what? Going back to DC, DC's had a hell of a career, man. When you look at his overall life, from where he's come from and to where he's at, and his contributions to the community, his overall character, never being busted for anything. You know what? People made fun of him, even with the Cummings bullshit. That stuff there, you know what? Back in 2004, when Cummings was helping him with the Olympic, it was only it wasn't really wrestling. They were going through reenactments in wrestling and situational stuff. And he beat him in that end. But you know what? DC, when it came to really fighting the guy, you see what happened. So you know what? DC's had a hard ride in a sense where people didn't give him the respect that he deserved. But when you look at DC's career and what he's accomplished, even against Jon Jones, where Jon Jones was doing his picogram shit and all the rest of the stuff, you know what? DC might have lost, but in my eyes, I think he won because he's never been a cheater. And that's the difference. And he's leaving the fight game with a fucking broken retina. And you know what? If he would have had two eyes to continue that fight, who knows what could have happened.
Here we go.
And you know what?
Okay, AJ.
Listen, man,
you gotta
that's
give
what
it to him.
man. But DC,
gotta give it to him.
you gotta. In the end, you gotta give it to DC. That guy there is a real Hall of Famer.
What I remember of DC is a guy that's always positive. Because even in the bad moments where his fight got canceled at the last moment against Jon Jones, things like that, he always stayed positive. He's always been a good example, a professional. So me personally, I got nothing but respect for DC. We can't there's only one GOAT, or there's only a couple, GSP, Jon Jones, Fedor. But right after that, DC is in the conversation of the greats. He might not be the GOAT, one of the GOATs, but he's in the greats of this sport. So nothing but respect for.
Yeah, he's a legend of the sport. He's one of the greatest of all time. Is he the greatest of all time? No, but he's one of the greats. He's a legend. He's a Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer.
Not everybody's Michael Jordan, but Karl Malone's pretty good too. Nothing wrong with being Karl Malone. Okay.
I don't know.
You look at
Google
guys
him,
like George.
impregnating a 14-year-old.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, DC would never do that. Well, fuck Karl Malone. All
No,
right.
but you look at some of the
Yeah,
boxing
fuck
greats
Karl
of the
Malone.
time, other than Muhammad Ali, man. You look at guys like George Foreman and whatnot, man. So you're talking, not the greatest of all times, but one of the greats. So
Sure. AJ, your love for Bellator, I'm sure brings you to tomorrow night. I'm sure you're very excited, right?
I didn't even know there was a fight tomorrow
Exactly.
night, but I'll be watching it.
Shows
But
you
it
how
doesn't
much you
matter, I'll
love
be watching
Bellator.
it.
That's why you need me in your
Listen,
life, because I'm here to tell you what's going on in the world of MMA. Bellator is going on tomorrow night. Bellator 244. Ryan Bader defending the light heavyweight championship against Vadim Nemkov. That is your main event for the light heavyweight title. Of course, as you know, AJ, being the Bellator aficionado, Bader is currently the heavyweight and light heavyweight champion, so he's defending his 205-pound title against Vadim Nemkov. Bader coming in minus 145, the favorite. Nemkov plus 125, the underdog. Wow, Roy Nelson is not supposed to win tomorrow night for Bellator. He is fighting Valentin Moldavsky, who's a 28-year-old Ukrainian, former world and European champion in mixed martial arts. He's 9-1. He's won a few here in Bellator, and he is such a favorite to beat Roy Nelson. Minus 950 to beat Roy Nelson, who's plus 625, the underdog. That's amazing odds. Roy Nelson, really no faith being given to Big Country by the odds makers. He's 44, though, and he's lost a shit ton in a row. 4 straight. He's lost 7 of his last 8. He's not done well. And he's lost everything in Bellator pretty much. He's won once in Bellator and lost 4. So he's done pretty badly as of late. I can understand why he's such an underdog. Kind of sad to see Roy Nelson fighting this. Roy Nelson's 44. He's a nearly minus 1,000 or plus 1,000 underdog. It's stupid, it's 100-1 odds, and he's fighting this 28-year-old kid. It's just it's kind of sad now. It's like when he was fat and kicking ass, it was kind of cool, but now he's fat and old and getting beat up. It's sad. I don't know. Some guy named Will Smith.
Hopefully his paycheck has a couple of zeros on it.
Yeah, hopefully he's getting paid. Some guy named Will Smith is fighting on the prelims. I don't think it's the same guy. Julia Budd is actually... Yeah, Julia Budd is the co-main event against Jessica Miele. I don't even know what this is. The featherweight fight. And Jessica Budd is actually a bigger favorite than Valentin Moldavsky. She's minus 1,000. Moldavsky was minus 950. Couple mismatches there on the Bellator card, I think. Odds makers giving Miele and Nelson 0 respect. I wonder what a Miele and Nelson parlay would give you if it cashed in. Put $5 on both of them. See if they win. That'd be crazy. But probably not going to happen. Guys, we have fights a little bit more competitive. I guess you guys don't really have a pick for the Bader-Nemkov fight. I don't really know. I'd go with Bader, but I don't know too much about Nemkov. So I'll watch the fight tomorrow. That'll be good. Nemkov is 11-2. He's won a lot of fights in Bellator. He's won 5 straight. Seems dangerous.
Phil Davis.
Yeah.
He looks like an athlete. I look at his pictures. He looks in shape. Honestly, I won't lie. I don't
he
really
looks
watch
ripped.
Bellator.
Yeah, me neither.
So this is a fight I might catch if I'm around, and I'll watch the main event. So let's go Bader. I like Bader.
Yeah, I think Nemkov's going to win, though. Nemkov's 28. Bader's 37. Nemkov's only a slight favorite. He's won a bunch of fights. He finished Phil Davis. No, he won a split decision.
Impressive.
Split decision. Sorry about that. He finished a lot of other guys. I don't know, man. I'll go with Nemkov. Let's see what he can do. But there's some real good fights, more legitimate
Can
on
I
Saturday.
just say something, though?
Yeah.
I think Bader beat Dominic Reyes or Blachowicz.
You think he beats either of them?
Yeah.
You might be right. You might be right.
It might be an argument.
Yeah. Okay. Munoz versus Edgar Saturday night. Frankie Edgar taking on Pedro Munoz. Solid main event. Frankie Edgar right now plus 225 the underdog. Munoz minus 265 the favorite. That makes sense to me.
Frankie didn't look good his last fight.
No. He got knocked out real quick by the Korean Zombie. First round knockout. That's not good. When Frankie's getting knocked out in the first round, it's like, oh, okay. Where's the chin? Is the chin gone? I don't know. Zombie's not like a power puncher. He's got power, but he's not like a one-punch knockout artist. So, yeah, I worried about Frankie after that last fight. Yeah.
Everyone is quick at 145. Everybody moves well and all that. But Frankie, throughout his career, you always feel like he was the guy that moved better in the cage, was in and out, would hit his target, not get hit. And in his last fight, it's only one, but he seemed to have slowed down to me. I remember Chan Sung-jung like being the guy that was just more impressive. It only lasted for 3 minutes, but Chan Sung-jung was dominating that fight. Like Frankie Edgar did not look in it at all.
And that was in the 145-pound division, and this is dropping back down for Frankie to 135, so even faster here. I don't like this. I really don't like when guys in their late 30s, Frankie now 38, been fighting in the UFC since 2007. I don't like when they start bouncing around divisions at this stage in the career. It's not usually a good sign. Odds makers have it for Munoz. I'd go with Munoz. Munoz is dangerous too. He's got one-punch knockout power. He knocked out Cody Garbrandt in the first round back in March of 2019. Cody Garbrandt's still very effective. He lost a decision to Aljamain Sterling in his last fight. Aljamain is one of the top 135ers in the world. I'm going to go with Pedro Munoz, and I think he puts Frankie's lights out tomorrow night, or Saturday night, rather. I got Munoz by knockout. AJ?
Yeah, I'm going with Munoz as well. He was looking for a win, and you know what? He looks pretty motivated in his last fight, so I'll go with him for the win.
We got OSP, Ovince St. Preux, plus 105, slight underdog, taking on Alonzo Menefield. It's the co-main event. Who is Alonzo Menefield? He's a Dana White Contender Series guy. He's won 2 in the UFC, lost a decision to Devin Clark in his last fight. This was in June of this year, so not a lot of time off here for Menefield, taking on the very tough former title challenger OSP. OSP lost to Ben Rothwell in his last fight, moving up to heavyweight. Now he drops back down to light heavyweight. That was not long ago either. That was back in May, the Rothwell fight. So quick turnaround for OSP and Alonzo Menefield in this one. Got to be a story there. Like, was this supposed to happen? It was supposed to be OSP against Shamil Gamzatov, but Gamzatov had to pull out of the fight back in April. And then Menefield replaced him. So Menefield's a replacement for this one. I don't know. They got Menefield as the favorite, but I feel like OSP's a better fighter. I'm going to go with OSP.
I'll go with OSP also.
HJ's got no thoughts.
Yep,
That's
OSP.
right.
No, OSP as well. All
Any other fights on this card you're interested in? Have you looked at this thing? It's like not... it's not great. I'm looking at it, and there's like nothing. Like, the after the 2 main fights we just talked about, where even like I know OSP, but I'm not really sure who Alonzo Menefield is. The rest of them are more obscure. Mike Rodriguez against Marcin Pinocchio. I don't know what his name is. Maria, whatever, Pinocchio. Maria Agapova against Shanna Dobson.
Yeah.
I don't know who. Daniel Rodriguez against Takashi Sato. Okay. And then a bunch of prelim fights. Like, those aren't even the prelims. Yeah, not the best card, but a good main event from the UFC Saturday. Frankie Edgar, Pedro Munoz. That's good. Everything else is kind of...
Main event is solid. Ovince St. Preux, I'm going to be interested in watching. And look, I'll probably catch most of the main card. But yeah, it's a kind of a weak card. 22 fighters, 10 don't have a Wikipedia page. And, that's always my barometer. 10 guys without a Wikipedia pages.
Yeah.
Basically driving a pickup on Las Vegas Boulevard and asking somebody, "Hey, you want to fight?"
I tell you what,
Hey, Jordan Wright, you want to fight?
Yeah, exactly. Like, hey, let me just grab somebody and put them in the
Joe
octagon.
Solecki, you want to fight?
Yeah, hey, would you like to fight for $5,000? You make $10,000 if you win. Basically, tough man contest at this point. AEW
That's pretty
Dynamite.
much what Conor made in his first fight.
AEW's Dynamite show is airing on Saturday. They were bumped because of NBA this week, so they usually air Wednesdays, but they're going to air Saturday instead. I think I'm going to watch Dynamite instead of this fucking UFC, man. Like, Dynamite looks better.
Why?
Because this is a wrestling weekend. Don't forget the WWE SummerSlam watch-along coming up Sunday night. I'll be here live 7 p.m. with Johnny North and my brother. We're going to do the SummerSlam thing, watching the whole event with you right here on the YouTube channel. SummerSlam weekend, baby. And we're going to preview SummerSlam on the next episode of Wrestling Uncensored that'll drop Saturday morning. So get ready for SummerSlam weekend with Wrestling Uncensored. We'll be here watching the show with you Sunday night. How bad will SummerSlam be? WWE has been fucking awful over the past, feels like, several months. And it seems like it's getting worse every time I watch. I've seen the first hour of Raw. I haven't even been able to get through all of Raw because it just sucks. It's just not fun to watch. So we'll see what SummerSlam's going to be, but we'll make it more fun. We'll have fun watching it. The show might not be good, but it'll be fun on the watch-along Sunday night, 7 p.m., right here on the YouTube channel. The video's already up. You can just sit there and wait. Open a browser, have it open, and wait. Or you could like this video, subscribe to the channel, and when you subscribe, you click the bell. There we go. So you get notifications every time we're on. And that way, you'll know what time we're on Sunday night for SummerSlam. RingsideReport.net is our website. Don't forget to follow our sponsors. Check them all out. Go to Manscaped.com. Use that promo code Ringside20. Get 20% off your order and free shipping. It's a great product. We all use the Manscaped. Go to Manscaped.com. Promo code Ringside20. Go to Stitcher.com and use the promo code Ringside. Stitcher.com/premium. Get Stitcher Premium. It is a great service. And when you use the promo code Ringside, you get a free month. Stitcher.com/premium. Promo code Ringside. And IP Vanish. Go to VPN.RingsideReport.net. Thank you to everybody watching. Thank you to everybody on the chat. A big shout out to Patrick C. Hamilton for helping us out on the Super Chat. We appreciate you very much, Patrick, and everybody supporting the Ringside Report Network. Continue to support Saturday morning on the premiere of Wrestling Uncensored, and then with us on Sunday night for WWE SummerSlam Watch-Along. Follow AJ at Danny Bruck on all the things. Follow me at Dave Simon MMA, and follow Freddie at Freddie MMA. That's it. That's all.
That's it. Damn.
That's it. Say bye.
All right.
This has been Ringside Report.
Luego.
Bye.
DC!